Welcome back. Here we are. We are here. Live on Thanksgiving. I guess we're going to see how many people join in this week on this week's live. I know Tom McLaughlin was saying he was anticipating on coming here. I'm going to turn on that back heater and turn this one off since that one's loud. That back one's on.
Perfect.
He said he was going to show up, but then he forgot. And he says he forgot he was traveling. It was Thanksgiving. So he won't be on this week, but he said he'll try to be on next week.
No, that's irresponsible.
But D Power says he would try to be on this week, and so will No Cloud. I don't know if they forgot it was Thanksgiving or not, so I guess we'll find out.
How can you forget it's Thanksgiving?
But we have the real Ted B. We got Iron Man Middle Dink. And I think there's at least one or two more other people here, but that's okay. We'll have ourselves a conversation with everybody here.
With whoever will hear us.
Yes.
Well, don't forget to hit that thumbs button, all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Go back, go hit that thumb, go hit the like button, go smash the love button.
Well, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Those who are here right now, are you guys...
Well, they're probably eating turkeys.
Well, I was going to ask, are you guys planning on anything with family and friends, or are you guys just chiming in and this is your Thanksgiving gathering this week?
Who's ready to gobble down some turkeys? And some ham hocks. The real Ted B says, flush the blue pills down the toilet. Then he says, happy turkey day, all you gobblers.
Yes.
And they said, unplug and connect to the Matrix network. He's right, you know.
He is right.
Iron Man says, gobble, gobble, you jive turkey mother Fook RS. Neo TMNT says the Matrix network is online. Neo is connected. Welcome to the network.
Yes, Neo is connected.
Yeah, I think he choked out Allison, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did too.
Yeah. The real Ted B says, does turkey taste the way it does because we were programmed to believe that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because everything tastes like chicken. But turkey tastes, or at least it smells like a wet dog to me. Like, you know how your dog comes in from the rain, it has that nasty smell. Yeah, that's what turkey tastes like and smells like to me.
Well, they're going to see a lot of that in this week's episode. This week's episode is 182, Transhumanism Thanksgiving. I think you guys will enjoy this week's episode, which it's a journey of what was, what is, and what will be. I'm trying to post something here into the chats, so give me a second on that.
We asked, are you in the Matrix with a fake turkey? To the real Ted B. And then he said, as long as the stuffing is real, I can assure you.
Well, that's what they said. Isn't that what that guy said? It's like, as long as I know this steak, as long as it tastes real, and I don't have to know if it's real or not, I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are.
And he said, after all this, I realized something. And Agent Smith asked, yes, what was that? And he said, the ignorance is blessed. And I think he's probably spoke for all of humanity with that. Like that chicken noodle soup thing that just happened recently, everybody I'm sure is aware of. We all thought we were eating real chicken, but apparently we weren't. So it's all been processed. Now, and everybody loved it. Everybody loved chicken noodle soup. Look at the snowman. On the commercial, the snowman loved it more than anybody. But now even he is second guessing, like, maybe I don't want chicken noodle soup anymore because we all found out that it's not real chicken. But we loved it up until the knowledge is what killed it. We were good. Ignorance is blessed.
That's all people care about at some point.
Is ignorance or blessings?
No, convenience. At some point, that's all people want. It's like, if it's convenient for me, that's good enough.
Yeah, if it's good for me,
I don't care if it's real. I don't care if it's true. I don't care about none of it. But is it convenient? Will my life be easier? Do I have to worry about anything? If the answer is no, I think people don't care.
My daughter used to worry about Santa Claus being in her room at night. That's something she used to worry about. So, like, she actually asked me one day. I didn't even have to tell her that Santa Claus wasn't real. She just asked me one day because we were listening to Christmas music. And here we go, Santa Claus again up on the rooftop, old Saint Nick. And she was like, wait a minute. Is this song saying that? So there's an adult that watches me sleep at night in my room? And I had to tell her no. I had to walk her off the ledge at that point.
Well, there's a lot of weird ideas people propagate. And to mention what Iron Man's talking about, we do talk about Campbell's soup and 3D printing and all of that in this week's transhumanism at Thanksgiving. But there's always those Santa Clauses. It's always Santa Claus. But Santa Claus is an archetype of the idea people want to propagate. It's a matrix, right? It's an idea people want to propagate, and then they want to manipulate, because there's always the ideas of what people want Santa Claus to be, and then what it transfers into later on. Mm-hmm. And it's not the same thing. So
yeah, I thought it was too early to tell her who she really should be believing and putting her trust into, which is Big Brother. Because that's who watches me when I sleep every night. And I got used to that. Big Brother watching over me. And Big Brother watches my wife too, and my kids. So yes, there is a grown man watching us sleep at night, and they know if we've been naughty or nice and all that. But my daughter, she doesn't know that yet, because she has a little brother. So I don't know if it would quite compute that she has a big brother watching over her. She won't really know what it means yet.
But is that a requirement? Because that's kind of like a quasi-matrix too.
I just want to make sure she's mature.
Yeah, well, it is tough. It gets tough out there because, if you can't, what are we going to do? Like Campbell Soup is a good example. The government tells you all's fine, USDA, all these federal regulations, all these federal agencies, and you trust it. Everything's legitimate. But then you get some of that inside matrix stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You get the VP talking about XYZ, and then it's like, wait a minute, is this legit? And, it's almost like anything else. You kind of already know, but you're looking for validity. Mm-hmm. And then you get some of the inside scoop, and then what's the next thing that happens? Like you expect, all the stuff comes out front. All that's fake. Don't believe that. There's no such thing as 3D meat. There's no such thing as bioengineered food. That's, like here's all the food scientists now coming out so they can protect their religion. Do you know that there's no way that there could be any bioengineered food? First of all, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. And they're never going to do that. And so, like, my mind is, yeah, that's true. It's too expensive for you and me. But would it be too expensive if they want to do an experiment? They wanted to see how will a large spectrum of people, what kind of diseases, what kind of reactions, what kind of health things. We don't tell people it's in there, but we are wanting to see what would happen if a large scale of people would eat bioengineered food. And clearly nobody's going to do it willingly. So we'll just put it in something as simple as Campbell's food. And like the executive said, nobody eats this stuff except poor people. Mm-hmm. So who cares? They're expendable, right? And so that's true. The food scientists have come out, there's no way there's bioengineered. It's too expensive. But it's not for the ones who want to do the experiment. What if they're subsidized by the government, the FDA?
Well, I'd love to ask the guy. So you're telling me that you rich people are eating the bioengineered
Of course
food?
not.
Yeah, because he in his mind connected poor people to bioengineered food. So he himself, with his own confession, was saying that it's cheaper. Bioengineered food is cheaper. Just on the recording, you can hear with his own mouth.
Yeah. And clearly he's not eating it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it's cheaper. It's poor man's food.
Well, even if it wasn't poor man's food, because he knows, or at least that's what he's saying, it has this stuff that, and he says, who would want to eat 3D printed food? So he already knows. Nobody wants that. But I'd like to take a second here and guys hit that like button. That I would appreciate that. And also, if you can take a second and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, that helps us as we continue pushing out the Matrix Network. You guys can subscribe to it. And we appreciate all that, because I do see there's people in here, and we can at least get the likes up to the viewers that are in there. But
let's get those nubs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I actually got a coffee from Starbucks one time, and I brought it to a meeting. I was at a meeting, and I'm not going to say what kind it was, but I was at a meeting, and I actually put the coffee into, it was good. The coffee was actually really good in that, you know, the cardboard cup and everything. So I put it into a coffee mug so I can drink it at this person's place. So we're there, and I'm drinking it. All of a sudden, it just tasted nasty. As soon as I put it in that coffee mug, it was nasty. So I knew it was psychological at that moment. It's just because it's in that cup. Like, they psychologically engineer those things to taste good to us out of the cup itself, out of the drinking cup. So I knew that at that moment. So I just poured it back into the cup so I could drink it again. And yeah, it tasted good again.
And now, what would happen if you, like, I'm going to show a clip here of pork brains in a can.
About pork rinds.
No, it's just literally pork brains.
Okay.
And, you know, it looks nasty. It looks like Pepto-Bismol. And I might show another video where somebody made Pepto-Bismol ice cream. But,
whoa.
And he says it tastes like bubble gum. Yeah, no. It's a little chalky, but it tastes like bubble gum.
The ice cream or the brains?
The ice cream. And the guy who was eating the brains, he's like, you know, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. But when I was looking at this, it's like, you don't know. It's just the can says pork brains. You don't know what that is. And so if there's any way that these individuals wanted to test this stuff on a large scale, it could be in anything.
Well, I'd go ask my local farmer, do you eat pork brains on your farm? And if he says no, and for whatever reason, those are real pork brains, so why aren't you eating the real stuff? If he's not eating it, then I'm not going to eat it. I don't care if it's lab grown or not.
Now, who's eating this?
I felt like that splash in my eye. Whoa, he did it. That son of a gun did it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, who's eating this stuff?
Probably poor people. And it's probably not even real pork brains, like you're saying. It's bioengineered.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's actually out there. And then I'm like, how do you know they're not putting this stuff in everything?
We do know that they are.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's all just down to a label. And that's what we're trusting. So, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like that's the world we're living in. It is definitely a type of matrix out there. I just thought it was interesting that somebody wanted to show you them eating pork brains. And that's what they thought was crucial.
Yeah, I've seen that guy eating all kinds of things with his mouth. All kinds of things. I don't know where he finds it or why, but I guess he just...
Well, Zerm says a thing that's true. David Zerm, shout out to David Zerm, says it looks like the McDonald nugget pink stuff. And yeah, you know, who knows that if your McDonald nuggets aren't made from that stuff, because yeah, it looks like pink goo before they cook it.
But again, it tastes good. So yeah, everybody's going to be eating it, and everybody loves it. They love McDonald's fries and everything. But then yeah, if we found out actually this is pork brains, now all of a sudden everybody's going, oh no! And now it's just that knowledge. The taste is still the same, texture is still the same. It's just the knowledge now.
Yeah. Well, Ted B asked you a question, colleague. He says, Are you sure it was turkey? You need to stay away from the roadkill.
I know. My mother used to tell me that same thing all the time before she passed from eating roadkill. And I try to hearken to her words now.
Well, there's this London restaurant out there trying to show you that they're integrating roadkill, chickens, and Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe you guys are into that. It's foul.
Is it real is the question.
Yeah,
though.
it is. It's all real. They use every part of the
She
chicken.
said it was inspired by a chicken. I was like, why?
Well,
is
a lot of
it
people-
actually is chicken. It's not inspired.
Yeah, I don't know about the word inspired. That's just probably one of her words. But that's a very popular place where they use every part of the chicken.
They need to sue her for defamation.
Like, I'm
'cause
sitting
now
here
I don't want it.
thinking-
It feels inspired. It doesn't feel
It's
like
I'm
it's
sitting there
real.
thinking, it's like if you bring out a chicken pot pie with a chicken head, I think that's something that sparking my interest. But apparently, that's what people are into.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where things are leading to when you get into this transhumanism Thanksgiving. And this is just the beginning. Like, it's going to get more transhuman as we continue moving on. We're going to have robotic whatever going on. And, we talk about in this week's episode, eventually, why not use it as a means of harvesting meat? Soylent Green kind of stuff. And how would you know the difference? Like, if they can create organoids from human stem cells, why not just continue making harvestable meat? And who knows what's being distributed to, like Campbell's vice president says, to the poor people. They can eat this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Well, as long as, if it didn't have any health defects, I wouldn't care at all. As long as it tastes good. That's all I really care about. If they told me it was pig brain, but it still tastes good, I'm like, okay, well, the only thing different now is my knowledge. This taste is the same. The texture is the same. But now I know it's pork brain. At that point, it's like, who cares? Because if people tell me it's pork brain, could be lying to me still about it being pork brain to get me off of it because it's actually healthy. It's actually fixing me.
Right. Well, then there's the next group of people that want to tell you, hey, but don't you know technology is coming along? If you can just hold out to 2035, you could live until 150. It's like, you think that anything's going on right now is encouraging me to be excited about living another 150 years. That's what you think is going on. People like this. Who's wanting to live to 150?
People who aren't going to get retirement until 149. Like, that's probably where they're going to push it back to.
That's why we're going to have a 1,000-year mortgage.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can live several lifetimes.
It's
You'll be able to
10x
pay it
that
off.
thing.
Yeah, why not? 10x my life.
Yeah.
Like I've said, in those days, in 2035, when the lion or the wolf lays with the kid, those are going to be the days
What
that...
about the goat?
Yeah, I think, no, it's the kid. Yeah, the kid. Yeah, the goat. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Tomato, tomato. When the wolf lays with the kid, those are times you're gonna die at like 90 years old, and people will be like, he died so young.
Yeah.
Because 150 would be a ripe old age, and then here soon it'll be 200, and then here soon you'll be like 900.
I'll look at our content and everything that is going on right now. What kind of content you think is going to be happening in 150 years?
Well, it won't be produced by humans, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Or if it is, it'll be like that weird stuff we were just watching earlier.
Shout out to Noah Cloud. He says he's setting up his tripod, so he's going to be tuning in pretty soon. Excited for that.
Sweet. Is your tripod in your house? What room is it in?
I don't know, but he's setting it up.
That's good.
And then anybody else who wants to join in on the live, it's the pinned comment. You can click on that link, and you guys can join in on the live anytime you guys want. It's in there. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's excited. Like, I'm not only that, it's like, what are you going to do? Reverse, like, my agility and my stamina, too? It's like, are you going to be able to restore my ligaments and my bone flexibility and plasticity? I don't want to live 150 and feel like I'm 150.
Your concerns are heard, but what if they told you that they could give you 20/20 vision again?
I don't care about my vision. Well, I do, but not like that.
And I'm not talking just about hindsight either.
Now, they can give me hindsight and clarity.
Yeah, hindsight 20/20. Just normal sight 20/20, then foresight 20/20.
I want hindsight in my mind.
What if you had foresight?
I actually want foresight in my mind.
Why? Just get foresight.
Well, if you give me foresight now, I can decide if I want to live till I'm 150, because then I can see what's going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't forget your mind. You can actually just see it right here. You give you foresight right here, so you can see the future.
So I can actually go so fast in forward time, I can actually see the future with my eyes.
Yep, 1080 HP, 4K, 20/20.
Time dilation with sight.
Yep.
That's advanced.
Yeah, what you're going to be able to do, they're going to give you the eyes of a sphinx, just like they used to have. And you're going to be able to see so far. You're going to be able to see so far, you're actually going to see around the world. You're going to see the back of your own skull. And you're going to actually be able to see in the future and the past, because all you're going to have to do is look the other direction. You're going to see the past.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
You're actually going to turn around and see yourself looking at yourself, because your eyesight's going to be that good.
Like the grandfather paradox?
I guess, but not really. I mean, because you're not traveling. You're just knowing. You're just being present.
Yeah. I don't know if I want any of that.
All right, we'll give it to somebody else then.
Yeah, that's fine. I say you should.
Next.
Yeah. I just think it's weird that if the world was a little bit different, if there was something that, like, I don't know, maybe there is. Maybe it's just a different perspective. Like, does anybody in the chats, does anybody in the live, so chat, tell us, would you want to live, so let's say you get to 2035, and I guess, what are the stipulations? What would they have to tell you to say, yes, I will take your pill, and I do want to live until I'm 150? Would you do that? Do you want that?
Well, let me read the chats and see what people are saying. These are going to be out of context for a little bit, because I'm going to go back in time and read the stuff they were saying earlier. Ted B says, timing of family obligations sometimes stinks. I think that's in response to Tom McLaughlin's tardiness, which will be marked. Iron Man says, my sister is a see you next Tuesday, and I'm not invited to dinner, so I'm putting a railing in for my mother.
I'm not. What's the context? I was making sure that the link was working. You just got to click on the link, Mr. Noah Cloud, and it should ask you to join the room. And then you can join the room, and we'll connect you in.
Ted B says, finishing up the cooking and then off to the in-laws. Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen with us. We do have a Thanksgiving dinner to go to ourselves, but
we have the Mad Hatter down here. We have the rabbit.
Well, those things have all been cooked and fried. Now it's just us and Neo.
Are you sure?
In the new, what's that place they went to, Zion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ted B or somebody in the Discord says you should title it The Flush Reloaded.
Or Nebuchadnezzar, I think, was the name of the ship.
Yeah, whatever it is.
But we're on that other ship, so we're on
the mother ship. Or the other ship.
We're on the other ship.
It's the same thing without the M.
Yeah. David Zerm says the exec said the chicken was 3D printed. LOL.
Yep, that he did, and we play all that this week.
Iron Man says I try to stay away from Campbell's soup because it was made in Camden, and Camden is absolutely disgusting.
Did you know canola oil? It was just short canola. It's just short for Canada. It's Canada oil. That's just some.
So it's can oil. Canoil.
Yeah, and actually short for Canada because they're the ones that invented canola oil.
Canola oil.
Yeah, oil. That shows my southern swang. Oil.
Yeah. Canola oil. Yeah, he said. Iron Man says, I remember when I found out that Thanksgiving rabbit wasn't real. I was heartbroken.
There's a Thanksgiving rabbit?
I guess.
Yeah, we never experienced that here.
Yeah, we've had a Thanksgiving cat, but not a rabbit. That's interesting.
I didn't get to partake in those festivities.
Well, that's how I learned that there's more ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways. There's more than one way, I mean. Excuse me.
That's good.
Pardon my French. I started speaking French when I talk too fast. That's why I try to talk slower.
Yeah, you got to catch them before you feed them.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Catch them by the toe, and then you don't let them go.
Whoa.
David Zerm says Flint, Michigan is still drinking lead water. I know. I think we all know.
I didn't even know Flint, Michigan was still around.
Yeah, that's because they sank because they're drinking all that lead.
I thought all their pipes corroded and people had to leave the city. I didn't even know they were still allowed to live there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I cracked this other monster. Oh yeah, after we showed that monster clip last week.
We're still doing it. Where we were eating Campbell's chicken noodle soup too.
I just spilled it all over me.
Yeah. That's actually what we're having for Thanksgiving is chicken noodle soup from Campbell's.
I'm actually going to make a monster casserole.
You know, if Campbell's chicken noodle soup is that bad, I wonder about Great Value chicken noodle soup.
Oh, yeah, wow.
People, this isn't just Campbell's. Everyone's going to suffer from this. Even high-end, like Chef Boyardee, they're all going to suffer from this junk.
Yeah, but again, like he said, who cares? The only people eating that stuff is poor people because in their mind, they're expendable.
Yeah, what's funny, though? I bet all the rich people that are eating it, like Elon, they're not going to eat it anymore.
Well, you think Elon was actually eating Campbell's soup?
That guy was sleeping on the floor of his own basement.
But was he eating Campbell's?
Probably.
I don't think so.
He probably drinks Monsters, too.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
He's probably eating beans. He's probably eating biscuits. Anyway, I progress.
What's beans and biscuits got to do with anything?
Well, there's something I haven't been able to talk about yet. But, yeah, there's just more stuff. Everybody's finding more and more stuff in their food. You be warned. There's nothing we could do about it, though. Like, what are you going to do? So I don't eat Campbell's anymore. So what, you go to Great Value? I don't think that's any better. What's the alternative? You can make your own soup, but who wants to do that? Like, you can put your own turkey legs in there, maybe chop up your own cow. If you have an ox, you can put its tail in there. You can chop its tail off and put it in the soup. You can make some oxtail soup. But not everybody has an ox.
Well, yeah, it goes back to that thing. It's like, are you going to... It's all, like I was saying in the beginning, it's all about convenience. Everybody only cares about convenience, just like that Matrix scene. As long as I don't have to know anything, the truth, give me my fake steak. Just don't tell me anything. As long as you don't tell me anything, I don't care. Everybody wants convenience. Everybody still wants to go to McDonald's and Walmart. They just don't want to hear that it's bad. As soon as you say it's bad, then they're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't want to have a farm and cows and chickens They want convenience.
That's why my heart goes out to all those poor people out there. Like, I've never tried Campbell's chicken noodle soup before, but I've just had too much money to do that.
Well,
But I feel for all those people all the poor people out there who haven't been able to afford a few farms here and there. They don't. There are people out there, and I don't know if you guys know this or not. In our chats, did you guys know that not everybody owns animals and a piece of land?
no.
Like, not everybody owns an ox. Not everybody owns a cow.
Okay.
I'm just putting that out there.
Well, all I'm saying is it just comes down to convenience. At the end of the day, that's all people really care about. If life is convenient, everything's convenient, then just don't tell me it's bad for me.
Done.
But then what happens is that there's this weird thing.
They
though,
weren't telling you it's bad. For
right.
you.
But then when people do hear about it, now they're demanding fix it.
Well, that's why we fired that guy, because he's the one who spilled the beans about the beans.
Yeah, but the problem is once they say fix it, then they're like, oh, would you like us to take away your convenience? Oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically Campbell's they could start charging us like $10 per can because we forced their hand to give us real chicken. So they're going to put real chicken in it. And there's probably going to be like chicken feet and chicken heads in there.
It's going to be real expensive.
Yeah, like $10 a can. But then, yeah, all the poor people out there aren't going to be able to afford it. And I'm definitely not eating it still, so.
Well, that's the question. It's like, but even at that, it's back to, again, another quasi-matrix. How do you know they really put the real chicken in there? Now, they're just telling you this.
I mean, you can actually see the bones and stuff.
How do you know that's chicken bone?
What could it be, rat bone?
Maybe a dinosaur.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, even if that was the case, you still don't know.
They could give us rat bones, and that would look like chicken bones, I'm sure. Like baby chicken bones. I guess I never thought about that. Some of rats in, like, New York and all that, they get as big as cats, so you'd never know. Like, you eat a rat leg, you may think it's a chicken leg. It's all pre-plucked.
Pre-blessed?
Pre-plucked.
Yeah.
It's free range, too. They can eat whatever they want in New York. The rats.
Yeah, but then what are we going to do? We're going to start eating rats.
That's what I'm saying. They could have been feeding us rats this whole time. Like, you go to KFC or you go to Popeyes or what's the other place? Chick-fil-A. It's probably all rat meat.
Yeah, but nobody would know.
I know. And if they told me it was, I would still pretend not to know because I'm still going to eat it because it tastes good. But now if they told me it's bad for me, then, yeah, now I'm going to be scared a little bit.
I'm going to be scared just a little bit.
I mean, I'd be scared a little bit because I don't want my health to decline, but the taste is something I could deal with.
Yeah, I don't know. All I can say is, even if they did, would you do it? Would you eat it, even if it was top dollar, top notch, top shelf?
Wait. That's that a question? Oh.
He says the bone is from Dahmer.
Yeah, it could be. But he was eating like human legs and stuff.
We're back. Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
David Zerm says Putin and Trump want to live to 150.
Yeah, and I saw that. There was a clip. I don't know about Trump, but I know there was a clip with Putin, Xi Jinping, and somebody else. And they were all sitting there like, hey, don't worry. We got this on the wraps. We got things in the works where we're going to live. 70 is going to be the new, like, young person. We're going to be living to 150. And so, yeah, I know. That's what they want. And you know what it tells you is if they're saying that, they do have something. They have some kind of technology. They know something.
Yeah.
But the real question is do you want that?
Well, I've always wondered if people are already on this, because a lot of the actors and actresses we have,
Are you talking about adrenochrome?
yeah, stuff like that. Like we have black and white photos of a lot of these actors and actresses from a long time ago, and they're still around. And a lot of people start saying they're vampires and stuff like that. I don't believe in any of that, but And then there's she jumping actually looks like a 10-year-old boy. Oh, no, not she jumping. Was it Kim Sung Oomp or something? What's that kid's name? Yeah, what's that guy's name? The North Korean
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, that guy. He looks like a 10-year-old boy. So who's to say that he's not sucking adrenochrome?
Yeah, but do we even know if that legitimately does anything?
Again, ask Kim Sung Pao.
I don't know. The main question I'm asking is what could they say to convince you to say, yes, I will take your pill and I will live. I want to live till 150. Is there anything they could tell you?
Yeah. It's the same question that Morpheus asked Neo. He said, would you like to take this red pill and see how far this rabbit hole goes, or take the blue pill and go back to your boring old life in your cubicle? Of course, everybody's going to want to take the red pill. Who wants to go back to the way things were and have been? It's like, I don't like my job at McDonald's, so of course I'm going to take that red pill. Anything's got to be better than what I'm working right now. Iron Man says, when I was little, I had a dog named Pod. I wanted him to jump over a stick, so I would say, tripod, try.
Try again.
That's very clever, Iron Man. But we saw right through you. Poor doggy. Is that dog still alive, or did you stick a needle in its neck?
Wow, that's strong.
Iron Man, Noah Cloud says, did it work?
We don't see you on the channel. Like I said, click on the link.
He might have been talking to Iron Man about his dog named Pod, which I doubt.
Well, if not, click on the link, click on join room, and you'll show up on the screen, and then we'll plug you in.
Iron Man says, hell yeah, I'll take that. So I think he's saying it did work. Maybe, I don't know. Then he says, I passed a homeless dude in Philly who had a sign that said, don't make me eat my dog. And, yeah. I know, I've driven past many homeless people who are eating Campbell's chicken noodle soup. That's literally all they eat. I don't think homeless people know how to eat anything else. I think literally all they eat all day is
Ted B says,
soup.
plugging in back later. Plugging in back now. Later, folks. So are you heading out?
Yeah.
He says, I really wanted to join this week, but timing won't allow. I will be here next week. I am thankful for you guys and the community that's been created. Hope to talk to you next week. Okay. Well, see you next time, Mr. Ted. And also,
So Ted is unplugging right now.
Yeah. Here's a Buy Me Coffee link that Iron Man has been asking for. So there's that.
Okay.
And that's if you guys want to contribute until we can once we get 500 subscribers and I get 3,000 hours of watch, they'll allow super chats again on this one. But yeah, if you guys want to contribute, you guys can go to that Buy Me Coffee link. There's that.
Iron Man says, I'm eating 2D printed chicken. We already say goodbye to Ted.
Yeah.
Ted's unplugged now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually unplugged the cord from the back of his neck. So he's out of the Matrix right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's out there with the Trinity.
You can tap back in whenever you like.
Yeah. And he's out there with Morbius too, I think.
Yeah.
So Iron Man says, I'm eating 2D printed chicken. Wow. And he said it tastes like paper. Yeah, it sounds like you actually just printed a piece of paper off
If
with
it's
a picture of
2D,
chicken.
yeah, it'd be literally just a plane.
Yeah, it's just a picture of a chicken on a piece of paper.
It's just literally a plane.
Yeah.
Like if you want to block a 2D object, all you have to do is draw a line because it can't see up. It has no dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's literally just. I guess that's the equivalent of what you show, McDonald's Big Mac. It's as thin as a pickle. It's almost 2D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The patty was thinner than a pickle, actually.
Yeah, it's literally almost 2D.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's getting there.
Yeah, there's no sustenance in that.
Yeah.
Iron Man says, I always thought an ox really liked me because he would sign his name XOXO. Okay. Ox. I'm
going to use the bathroom real quick. Just keep a monitor on the top screen. And if you see anybody pop up, when I come back up, let me know and I'll pop them in. So, yeah, if you guys want to join the live, click on the link that's pinned and join the room, and we'll pop you in. But I'll be right back. I got to use the bathroom.
Just got to use the little boys' room real quick. Iron Man says, chicken feet makes the best chicken stock. I'll take your word for it. David Zerm says 3D printed bone. Yeah, honestly, I don't know why they couldn't 3D print a bone. Nobody's eating it anyway, so I mean, technically they could print it out of like some kind of plastic that looks like a bone. Excuse me. And nobody's going to eat it anyway. They're just going to eat the chicken off the bone, which was also 3D printed. Yeah, Iron Man. Yeah, free range rats. Yeah, New York are free range. They're not in cages. Their feet aren't stapled to the floor or anything like that. They're eating any garbage that they want, and then we're eating them. And there's plenty of them. There's plenty of rats out there. So, and they're big, super big. Iron Man says, I wound up eating the dog. Yep. Well, that's pretty typical. I think we've all been there. When you run out of chicken noodle soup, you look at your dog next and throw him in the microwave. My brother and his friend, there was one time we moved. I moved with some other family members, and my brother and his friend stayed behind in Missouri, and there was a dog, and they didn't know what to do with the dog, so I guess the dog, quote unquote, got hit by a car, and then they had to dispose of the body, of course, so they burnt it. And then they
this is like toilet time.
When that didn't work,
Matrix Network.
Yeah, when that didn't work, burning the body, there was still bones left and a lot of meat left, I guess. So they had to pick it up and put it in the dumpster, in the trash can, and I guess they wheeled it out for the for the city to come pick it up.
Well, somebody on Rumble posted a link. 2 links. Hemp Car on Rumble posted these 2 links. What's the context, Mr. Hemp Car on Rumble? Pull up these links. One of them says PBS says we are all eating nanotechnology. CBS reported that the FBI and others killed milk. Okay, let me pull that up and see what it says here.
You can't kill milk.
They're feeding the cats.
The stuff we talk about on this show.
All right, so we made that. All right. So here on PBS, it says, we are all eating nanotechnology. Michael Crichton was always a bit of an alarmist in his novels, but exploited the simple concept that everyone from Bram Stoker and Alfred Hitchcock had mastered. Take something from the experience. It was roadside motels for Crichton. It was technology. Jurassic Park. At the very least, That's where my head immediately went when reading the Adequate Scary Eating Nanos in E-magazines. The article, which appeared last month's issue, details exactly how nanotechnology has found its way into our food supply. Just like GMOs, their existence was meant to help out. They supposedly delivered more nutrients to our body, keeping food fresher for longer periods, even enhanced taste. And this is what the article says. At the moment, there is not much information available about the topic of ingested nanoparticles in human health. Some nanoparticles are present in the human diet, for example, titanium dioxide in food products and cosmetics, and silver, which is sold as nutritional supplement. There is evidence that there's a small percentage of these particles or particle components, like silver ions, which can be released in stomach acid, can move on from the intestinal tract into the blood and reach other organs. And this one says, oh, not milk. MLK's family feels vindicated. I'm not sure what this one's context is. That's the FBI cover-up. Oh, this one says CBS reported that the FBI and others killed MLK. A cover-up following the assassination in Memphis in 1968 involved the FBI, CIA, media, and Army intelligence, as well as many state and city officials. Pepper said he told the juries that they could rewrite history, was a conspiracy verdict. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that people at that statute and that level would do those things. But then again, they don't have to go to those extremes anymore. You know, back in those days in the 60s and such, you would literally have to assassinate people. Because there was no social media. There was nothing like that. You would actually, if you want to stop the voice, you have to kill the person. Today's day, nobody's going out there and doing that hard footwork like those guys. Those guys literally set up movements like communities. Today, everything's online. You want to shut down a big voice? You should shut down the social media.
Yeah, just be louder than them.
Right. But nobody's going out there doing that footwork. So it made sense. Back in those days, they literally had to kill the person. Today's day, people put so much energy into social media and having this internet platform. If you want to kill any voice today, just kill the platform. Nobody's going out there and doing the footwork anymore.
You know, there's a couple of, maybe we should do a segment. So you guys might see these videos I'm about to play again on our pre-recorded maybe one of these days.
Hey, thanks for that, Mr. Hemcar. Thanks for that $5 donation.
It may be worth a segment, but here's a couple of interesting videos I saw, and you guys, it actually goes in line. It actually makes sense. Maybe there is nanotechnology in our food. So there's aluminum or some kind of metal. I don't know how she knows it's aluminum. She probably just thinks it's aluminum. But there's little pieces of metal you can see. It's like little sparkles.
Whoa. You owe me $10 million.
Yeah. Make it $11 million. Anyway, so there's that. And then this next one is interesting too.
That's clearly metal in there.
Yeah. So it's just in our food. Maybe those are nanobots.
Nanobots, like what do you call them? Xenobots.
Yeah, or maybe it is just chromium or something. We don't really know. Lost him. There we go. So those are really a couple of interesting videos. I guess once, who said that they're putting nanobots in our food?
Noah Cloud says, I'm in. I don't see you in here, Mr. Cloud. Let me make sure it's the same one. I think it's the right one. I'm going to click on the link again. You clicked on the link in the... you clicked on the link that's pinned, right, Mr. Noah Cloud? Yeah, see, when I'm there, yeah, I'm there. You have to click on the link that's pinned at the top of the chat on the YouTube chat. Because I don't see you inside the group. But, yeah, but that's just one layer of all of this is the food.
Well, what if we are ingesting nanobots or nanoparticles?
Like xenobots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if people remember about xenobots, but that's actually evolved. There used to be Xenobot 1. Now I think we're at Xenobot 3. Let's see if I can pull it up.
David Zerm says beans have iron in them. I think that's why. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, you'd...
And that's Xenobot Evolution 1. I think
But
now
it's not metal though, so they
these
wouldn't cause a
are
spark.
These are literal living.
Yeah, but it's not metal, so it wouldn't cause a spark.
No, that's why I'm saying it's probably not Xenobots, but they are Xenobots out there they could be putting in food.
Yeah, but that wouldn't cause a spark. And to respond to what David Zerm was saying, if beans having iron in them, I think he's joking, but if beans having iron in them would cause that spark like that, or you would actually see the chunks of, flashy iron in the food, like those biscuits, then that would happen with meat. You warm a piece of steak and you'd see sparks, or anything with iron in it, because there's a lot of iron in a lot of our food. They usually don't come in chunks like that.
Yeah, I mean, they could be putting anything. I mean, there's all kind of like nanobots, nanoparticles. I mean, we've talked about it many, many times. Like I talked about how they use modified AAVs to create mRNA vaccines. This is how you create vaccines. Is you modify the adrenal vaccine. You modify its DNA. And then you inject it, and then it goes to the cell, and then the cell downloads that mRNA, the modified RNA, and then it converts the DNA at the cell, and then that's how the DNA information is transferred. And this is how they can create brain cells to produce the protein opsin. And opsin is sensitive to blue light, and blue light does LTD, which is a way of retardation of the axon terminals, and axon terminals is how is a neurotransmitter. That's how your brain cells transmit information from one cell to the next cell, and if it's sensitive to blue light, it shrinks the axon terminals and the dendrite terminals, the dendritic spines. And then that's how you prevent memories from transferring. So, yeah, they could be utilizing nanoparticles and stuff like that.
I'm sure they are.
Well, I mean, if we're trying to assume how they are and what they are, but it could be anything. Or they could just be, it could just be metal shavings. If you want to just get Occam's razor, what that metal is probably just metal shavings from food production, and it's falling into your beans.
And your biscuits. Because that lady had a lot of metal shavings in her biscuits.
Yeah, it might have just been that batch where there was a malfunction at this batch, and there's a bunch of metal shavings that fell into this batch of biscuits. Because I've eaten biscuits, and I ain't never had no chunks of metal.
Well, you never really looked.
I'd probably taste that gritty, hard.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Apparently not. I mean, I've been eating it too.
Yeah, but it was obvious. You could see it.
Yeah. Yeah, at first I thought maybe it was just because the lining of inside that can has, a metal film around it. So maybe some of that was coming off into the biscuits. But of course, that's obviously by design too. So that's probably because they don't have to put that. When you look at the ingredients of the biscuits, that's all they have to put on there. What the ingredients of the biscuits are. They don't have to put on there what the ingredients of the container is. So the container on the outside layer is what's holding your food, and that stuff is actually going into your food.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just a simple thing though would probably be metal shavings, but yeah, of course they could be doing anything. And to answer your question, Metal Dink, I literally created that while you were asking me right now. So that buy me a coffee link, it's probably being propagated right now. So it might not be working because it probably takes 24 hours to verify everything. So maybe next week all that'll be set up. But I appreciate that, Mr. Metal Dink.
Yeah, you can send us your guns though, and you can send us your grenades.
But on Rumble, Mr. Hempcar sent another link saying nano dust to control us. And yeah, we've talked about this, and this is a pretty common narrative where they talk about microwave radio frequencies, 5G, 6G, graphene, nanomaterials, technologies used in neurological warfare. I actually talked about something more advanced than this. This is usually correlated with possibly putting nanoparticles and nanomaterials inside the COVID vaccine and such. But I was talking about, I think it was episode 173, 172, which is not available anymore since that channel got abrogated. But I'll probably be uploading those previous episodes back on the Matrix Network. But when I was talking about how they utilize electromagnetic frequencies to control your brain. So one thing they use is to produce opsin proteins in your neurons so they can delete your memory. But they also can use AAVs and mRNAs and nanoparticles to control your brain by enhancing what's called the ion channel in your brain. And whenever these nanoparticles are in your ion channel and they get stimulated, let's say there's an electromagnetic frequency at a certain frequency, it stimulates the ion channels right there in your brain. And that stimulation is what activates your brain cell. And so they can control your brain also utilizing these magneto nanoparticles. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. But how much of that are they utilizing in today's food? I don't know. Campbell's, with that coming out, it just asserts more of the narrative. What are they putting in your food?
I think bioengineered food is the least of our worries.
No, I don't see you there. Let me try setting up a whole new link for you, Mr. Noah Cloud. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But you can continue reading the chats while I try to fix this.
That's everything. We're at the end of the rope.
Wow. I'm going to set up another link for you, Mr. Noah Cloud. Maybe this one will fix that. Yeah, it looks like there might have been something wrong with the first one. That's fine. I don't know why, but that's fine. Yeah, there was something weird about that first one. I'm going to send you this, and this should fix all that, Mr. Noah Cloud. And then you should be able to get in here. We do want to hear from Mr. Noah Cloud, so give us a second on that, and I will put you in. Well, what have you been thinking about this Thanksgiving, Mr. Colleague?
Just how thankful I am.
About what? All right, there's the new link.
I'm thankful that we have the free choice to not have to eat turkey on Thanksgiving, because I hate turkey so much. I'm thankful for the fact that we could have some ham and
Yeah, get out of here. We just lost like 5 people for your thankfulness.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm a very grateful character.
Well, Hempcar on Rumble says James Gardano says they can control populations with smart dust. Yeah, we've talked about smart dust before, but there's always an interesting thing, because I think colleague once was showing about how there's a lot of fake snow out there and people's experience with fake snow. We don't really know what that is. It says GMO soy will solve the overpopulation problem. HuffPost says that GMO soy turned hamster tastes blue. What does blue taste like?
Couldn't tell you. But yeah, soy. There's a lot of soy boys out there, and I think we know why. And not only that, as far as the whole controlling populations, if we want to know if we're being controlled, you can just look at how you're acting. If you're behaving differently, or your community is behaving differently than what you remember or what you know, then you're probably being controlled. Now, you may think, well, maybe they're just controlling your memory too. Well, then you can just go online. Everything's recorded nowadays. You can look at pictures or videos of you and your people acting or behaving certain ways. Now, unless Google starts going in and using AI to change your videos on every single video of every single phone, that'd be really stupid. So I don't think they're using that technology yet. I know they can do mass hysteria stuff right now, but I don't think they're doing it yet.
Well, I just think it's interesting that this Campbell stuff came out right before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that just... I don't know. I just think it's interesting that everybody now is going to be buying food, think about buying food, and while you're thinking about buying food, you're also now going to be thinking about what's in my food.
Yep. I've already been thinking about that. What's in my beans? What's in my biscuits? What's in my turkey?
Well, the reason why I think it's interesting is because whenever the government does something to initialize a forced thought, which this would be, it's like they're getting acclamation, like acclamation before propagation, acclamation for something they want to, they're about to do something. And so are they going to introduce some kind of new regulation, new kind of means, a new kind of food, a new kind of something? Because now that the Campbell thing has come out and we're thinking about our food, it's forcing us to say maybe we need to do something about food, which makes us more susceptible to accepting whatever the government says. So we need to do this now because we don't want stuff like this to happen again. Mm-hmm. And what are they going to unleash now?
The gobblers. Like they already have their turkey in our mouths. So we already know what's about to hit us next.
What's that?
The gobblers.
What are the gobblers?
The things on the turkey's throat.
Well, Hempcar says it turned the mice's testicles blue. Oh, that's why he says testes. They said tastes. It's testes blue.
So they had the
blue balls.
So the hamsters had blue balls
Mm-hmm.
from being soy boys.
Yeah.
I could see that. I think that happens even in humans.
Yeah. But then again, it's like I said earlier. What are you going to do? You want convenience because it all comes down to convenience. You want convenience, but now that you know something, now you're saying, I want you to fix it. But what if the cost of fixing it means you are not going to have convenience? It's going to be higher pricing or, something. It's going to reduce your convenience. Is that worth it?
What if I want to have different colored testes? Like, what if I want yellow or purple or something? That'd be kind of cool. Pink.
But that's what I'm saying is like that's why that question from the Matrix is so interesting because it's like, I don't care. Just don't tell me. How many people just would rather not be told and just let me continue eating my fake steak?
Oh, well.
Would you?
Well, I already said before, I've actually done this. I just reverse it. Like with that coffee. When I switched that Starbucks coffee into a coffee mug and it tasted nasty, all of a sudden, like it tasted good in the cup. In that cardboard cup, it tasted good. So I just put it back in the cardboard cup. Knowing that it was all psychological. I was able to reverse it. Just playing backward psychology. Yeah, it's not reverse psychology. It's backward psychology.
I get what you're talking about. You're just switching the cup, but the liquid's the same.
Yep.
I'm saying
I'm switching the flow on them.
Would you rather continue eating your fake steak and not the government not telling you it's fake? Or would you rather be inconvenienced with higher cost or growing your own food?
Yeah, asked and answered. I would be fine as long as the steak tastes good. If it tastes good to me, and they told me, yeah, this is it's not actually from a cow. It actually came from a cat or a dog or
they don't
a
tell you
giraffe
that.
or something.
They just keep pushing the narrative.
Yeah,
that
or
this is
it
all
came
cow.
from a lab or something. Yeah, but I'm saying like, or maybe some guy blows his whistle and then we know. Okay, we're actually eating dirt, but it tastes like steak.
Right.
My first thought is, well, I'm not going to get rid of it because it tastes good, but I will get rid of it if it's harmful to my health, if I know it's harmful. But if there's no difference, then yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, of course it might be harmful to your health, but they don't tell you none of that. You just keep eating this steak and tastes good, everything tastes good, and they tell you it's from a cow. They keep pushing this false narrative. But would you rather have that or have the truth and be inconvenienced with higher prices and growing your own food?
I'm with Burger King. Taste is king. And that's the way I like it. I have it my way. Subway.
So does it even bother you that there's metal in your beans and that?
No, see that's where I draw the line. I don't care about as long as it's not harmful. Metal obviously is not good for you. Not chunks like that.
Yeah, but does it matter as long as it tastes good?
As long if it's harmful for me, a lot of things taste good. Like a rapper made a song one time like, if everything is bad for you, bad for you, bad for you, why does it have to taste so good?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do.
No, I don't.
Thankfully, you can stay away from the sweets.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that. Well, it does bother me though, and it's tough because I'm a prisoner to convenience as much as the next person. I can't pretend that I'm not.
Do you tend to go towards the sweets?
No, I don't like sweet foods as much as I like salty foods, but that's neither here nor there. It's all still convenience. And I don't want to grow my own food all day, every day. I don't want to have animals I have to take care of all day. I don't want to work just to eat because that's what the industrial advancements is what allowed us to have these conveniences so we don't have to work all day just to live. But the only way to fix this, so that's what I'm saying, it's almost like this forced paradigm. It's like you can take this stuff and keep on having your convenience, or you can go back to the old ways. And a lot of people will go to some of the old ways, but then again, at some point, they're going to pollute that too. Look what they do with GMOs, right? So once you have GMO seeds and you grow GMO plants don't produce their own seeds. So now you're stuck with depending on these companies to buy new seeds every year because you can't harvest seeds. So now you're stuck in that matrix of the GMO matrix. And then at some point, heirloom seeds are going to be gone. That's the goal for them, like Monsanto's and boys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's almost like they forced everybody to adapt to convenience so much. The only option is to go back into the 1800s. It's like you better go back and grow your own food now. But nobody's going to do that. Nobody's doing that. Well, let me tell you that. There are people doing that. But that's not what most people will ever want to do. They have a career. They have a job. They're barely making. Inflation is so high. We're trying to barely make it. You can't live on a single income barely anymore. And it's like, I don't have time to sit there and grow my own food. I don't have time to take care of cows and chickens. So even if I wanted to, it's like I have to depend on convenience because I can't even afford to live without it no more.
I can afford a worm farm, and I can grow worms.
Yeah, but you're not going to sit around eating worms all day.
No, the fish are.
Yeah, but what if you're not around a place where you can catch fish? And what if the fish are all contaminated?
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true.
Shout out to Alex Jones.
Some of those things are sprouting legs. So we're actually watching evolution,
Changing
like in the
genders.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's the complexity of it, is that we can't even go to a life of inconvenience because we can barely live this life. And once they remove the conveniences we have, we don't even know what to do. And so the only option is, okay, now you guys don't like this 3D printed chicken. Fine. We're going to force these companies now to make real chicken. But now it's all going to cost 2 times more, 3 times more. Oh, I think Mr. Noah Cloud is here. I see him. Give me a second. I'll post you in, Mr. Noah Cloud. We can hear you. Nope, everything sounds good. Give me 1 second. I'll post you in.
Also, I sent you a text.
And there's Mr. Noah Cloud.
There he is.
Yeah, welcome back, Mr. Cloud. We ain't seen you in a while.
No, it's been a hot second, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind?
Well, I was kind of listening to you guys talk about going back to like the old ways and the way like a society today and like the convenience of the grocery store and everything. And I think that I was just kind of pondering that, and I think that like a good way would be kind of like a hybridization of that, where we have communities where people go back to like the small scale farming that can support their own community, and we're not relying on like these nationwide chains. You know what I mean?
Oh, what would be your answer? It's like, people have so much struggle today to barely make it because, regardless of your situation, barely anybody can live on a single income. You take away conveniences and you only option is all right, well, double price because now manufacturers are going to be forced to make higher quality food. That's going to be their justification. So we are already struggling. Now they're going to say, fine, we'll fix it, but it's going to cost more money, which means now we're going to be enslaved to even more of that. And how does the normal person, like somebody like you might be out there, maybe self-sufficient, out there, got land or whatever. I don't know your situation. I'm just assuming, right? Let's assume that hypothetically. Then maybe some people like that can do that. But for the most of people, we've adapted to this form of matrix that we're living in that What are the solutions?
Well, that's tough. It's not like an overnight thing. It has to be like a generational change. Like we can't just flip the switch and like tomorrow we all go back to like living with no electricity. It would have to be like a gradual thing with like we teach our kids to live a little bit differently and they teach their kids to live a little bit differently, and maybe in like 4 or 5 generations we get there. But you know, it's one of those long game things where it probably won't happen in our lifetimes. And so because of that, most people aren't willing to invest in that because, you know, they're not going to see the gratification of it.
So,
Because
what are we going to do today? I guess that's really where the problem becomes, is like, how do we fix that today?
I don't think we can really fix it today. I think it's just one of those things where we can try to educate ourselves on like what can we realistically like grow on our own and not have to get to the grocery store without trying to just like go 100% on like full sustainability, because I'm not like full sustainable.
Right.
Like we have like a greenhouse and stuff like that, but it does not produce like enough to feed like a lot of people in the long run. And the amount of time and effort that goes into like producing all that food and like preserving it and all that sort of stuff doesn't really pay off for the convenience of going to the grocery store and like picking up a bag of lettuce for $5.
Iron Man wants to know what the frog is going on over there.
Yeah, there's like these interval of frog noises in the background, but
He's like,
that's the ravens.
oh, okay.
We have a raven nest in the back.
I don't know about that. Maybe, I don't know if you can hear it. You might not be able to hear it on your end, but if you play it back, you'll see what we're talking about. Like while you're talking, it's like
No, I can hear them right now. They come back and they raise their babies back here every 2 or 3 years.
Oh, must be some big ravens. I thought the ravens. What kind of ravens do? What noises do the ravens make?
Oh, the ravens up here make all kinds of noises. They don't just caw. They know how to copy all kinds of stuff. Like when my dad was the logger up here, the ravens knew the blast whistle, like when they'd be blasting on the road or blowing up stumps and stuff like that. And so they'd go back to wherever the guys were, copy the blast whistle, and all the guys would drop their gear and go running, and the ravens would go and steal all their lunches.
So what else has been on your mind, Mr. Cloud?
Oh, I don't know, just kind of like the state of the world and things like that. Like everybody likes to try to talk about like what's going on with like Israel and things, and I don't know if anybody's going into that right now, but
What was that last part you said?
You cut off that last part. Go ahead.
we're just people like in the world talking about like Israel and the economy and all the what's happening and like the government meltdown and the Epstein list and all that other stuff. So I don't know if you guys were already talking about that sort of stuff today. I don't want to lead us too off topic of what everyone else
No,
is
you can
going
talk
on
about whatever you want. We weren't talking about any of that. What's the breakdown on that?
Oh, in what sense?
Oh, whatever you're saying, whatever you are talking about with the Epstein stuff.
Yeah, give us the shakedown.
Give us the shakedown. Well, I just seen that like in the Senate they're trying to push it through, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's having like a crash out and like retiring and everything like that because of it. Have you guys been looking at that much at all?
Only thing that I've been looking at was the comparison of the idea of the convenience that they put the investigation out before they decide to vote on the petition, which seemed very convenient. And then after everybody voted to approve the petition, they now say, all right, fine, we're going to do all this. But now they have this range of saying, well, if it's under an investigation, we might not be able to release that information. That's about as much as I was going into that, because I already know it's like they've had all this time to scrub data. If there was anything really incriminating, they probably already could have. But then that leads to the next question: is if you've already scrubbed this data, why is there any resistance for just putting it out? Just go ahead and put it out then. There's nothing incriminating. You already scrubbed all the data. So then what's the resistance? It only makes you look more incriminating.
Yes. Well, I think that they're just using this as a way to keep people distracted and fixated on things that, while they do, there are other weird things. So like the actual like vote for to release the Epstein files is going to have like all kinds of other like little rioters and other little things slipped into it. It's not going to just be like, here's the Epstein logs and that's it. And they're going to be voting to include other little things in it like they always do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's expected. I expect them to do their little guises and games they're playing out. It's just really strange to me. Everything in politics is all about PR.
Yes.
And if you want to propagate that you have nothing to hide, it's really simple to do that. And you have all the means to scrub anything you want that's incriminating. So it leads me to two conclusions. Either they can't scrub it, which that's hard to believe, or they want this illusion or this perspective of the people to think Trump must be hiding something. And then it's like, well, if you want that, that means you want Trump to take a fall for something. You want him to be the boogeyman. So I don't know how to play this. I don't believe they're incapable of scrubbing. I know they can. But it's hard for me to believe somebody like Trump is willing to take the fall for something like that too.
No, I don't think Trump would be willing to take the fall for it. And I'm sure that they do have some sort of information on him. And like, even if they don't, they could fabricate it just to make it look like it was real. And it doesn't really matter at that point. It's just kind of like public opinion would take over and people would just run with it. It's like, did you guys see the Hunter Biden interview that he did with the Channel 5?
Yeah, where everybody thought he was a pretty laid-back, cool guy.
Yeah, but like my big takeaway from that, when they're talking about like his laptop, is he was saying that everybody has a laptop, and so the government is able to create these laptops and distribute them in a way that they'll get out to the public. You know what I mean? It's so it doesn't matter even if it was actually his laptop. It's like what he was getting at is that they can make a laptop and say that it's yours.
So it wasn't him in those videos. It was all AI Sora stuff, and that wasn't his cocaine and all that. It was a friend of a friend's. He was holding it for them.
Oh no, all those videos were of him, but the government has access to all that sort of stuff. Like if you put any kind of video on your phone, especially if you're on the AT&T network, they have all of that. Like all these big cellular networks, they have all that sort of stuff.
What about
So all those
Verizon?
videos that he took with his phone, they just had it. And so it's sort of like the Las Vegas shooter. You guys remember how his brother was talking out about it, how he said that it didn't make any sense and there's no reason for him to go and do this and then kill himself afterwards. Well, after that, his brother mysteriously had a computer from like 1996 that had terabytes of child porn on it that just mysteriously showed up, and they prosecuted him for that.
So where they used to get people for tax evasion that was completely fake, now they're getting people with 8 terabytes of child porn.
Yeah, because it's really easy to replicate digital signatures. It's like when I was in college, when I was torrenting movies and stuff like that, I would use programs to cycle my IP address and spoof my MAC address and stuff like that. And so all that stuff is really easy to change. And like the government has all these direct contracts with the manufacturers of this equipment. And so they can just get new old stuff whenever they want, really. And they know how to edit and change it all. And unless you know how to do like the forensic breakdown on all that equipment, there's no way to really verify the information. And so they can just put it out there, and it's just out there then. And so in order to verify it completely and properly, there's no realistic way to do it. You know, they're not going to hand over that stuff to like third and fourth parties for verification. They're just going to say, this is evidence, it's locked down, you can't look at it.
Well, I guess possession is the issue. Yeah, you don't have to actually be on the video. Since child pornography is illegal itself, possession is all they need. So, yeah, I guess that's all they have to do. You don't have to be on the video. They're just going to say, here's this laptop. This laptop was owned by, J.D. Vance or whoever, and we have found on this laptop 8 quadrillion terabytes of child porn. And because possession is illegal, that's all they really need. Yeah, you don't have to be on it. Literally, possession is all you need.
They probably have a bunch of these laptops just in a warehouse somewhere. Just put someone's name on it whenever they need to.
Yeah, that's kind of what what's his name, Hunter Biden, was getting at in the interview, which is something that I totally believe, because it's not hard to fabricate this stuff. And like even with people, it's not hard to pay them off to make false testimony, because at the end of the day, how do you prove otherwise?
Well, yeah, that's true, especially when it's inside the government circle. How would anybody? I mean, you could say all day, that's not mine, but then again, everybody's going to say that's not mine. And,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, I believe this, but I wonder how far we can take this if we're being consistent, because this could also mean that Epstein may have also been innocent, and he just had a bunch of stuff attached to him because, maybe he blackmailed the wrong people, and they just put all this stuff on top of him.
That's interesting. That could be true, because he kind of just seems like he was set up to be a fall guy from the beginning. Like just like kind of like a shield for everybody else who's actually like his client list, because he was just kind of like a nobody. And then it was sort of like a lot of the times, like what I see with like businessmen and things like that, is they don't take like the best and the brightest people and elevate them to managers. They take the people who are the most compliant and the people who are going to go along with the plan. And so like a guy like Epstein, he's not really like a super smart, outgoing guy in terms of like his life and everything like that. And so for him, he's really great for like these owners to take and then sort of uplift and put him into higher positions in society, give him money, give him power, parties, women, all that sort of stuff. And now he's like indebted to them. And so now he has to kind of do whatever they say, and maybe he's already kind of like a weird pervert. And so now he's got like an outlet for being a weird pervert with all these people. Well, maybe the whole time they're just setting him up to be the fall guy, because he's like the front face of it. And they're never going to like admit who was actually funding him, who was supporting him, and all that other stuff.
Maybe he's a gateway, because, there's always got to be some bridge between the public sector and the private sector, or the government and like these kids. If they want, these kids are not part of the government. These kids are just like, average, normal children of normal parents. Maybe not. Maybe some of them are just inside certain circles and they've been groomed like that. But there's always got to be this bridge between the public and the private. And I always see people like Epstein as bridges. And there's many Epsteins out there. And these bridges are figures that people show as, at least in the front side when they're using a bridge, like any bridge. It's safe. It's okay. Drive on this bridge. It's useful. There's always these illusions. And while they are using the bridge, they keep maintaining the illusion that this is a good bridge. It's a useful bridge. So people like celebrities will hang out with this bridge, and people like politicians will use this bridge. So while it's being used, there's always this illusion that this is a normal thing. Everybody's using this bridge. But then once they want to... colleague has some xenobots going on over here. Once they have decided that there's too much traffic on this bridge and it's getting too much use, they may find a reason to say, oh, this bridge is no longer safe. This bridge is now need to be condemned. This bridge needs to get destroyed. And they'll just move on to another bridge. But it just seems to me people like Epstein's are these bridges. And there's always these kind of bridges.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he was just a janitor of some company like Trump's Towers or something. And then, all of a sudden he just got these quick promotions, which would be scary, for anybody to get promotions. Maybe they should be scared. If you just start jumping from level to level in your company and you don't really know why, and all of a sudden you're up at the top, and then all of a sudden you're taking pictures with Trump and you're taking pictures with all these big people. You may be on that fast track, that highway to hell. And maybe that's what Diddy was. Well, Diddy, I guess he was already famous for his rapping, but same thing. Maybe Diddy was innocent. And
I think Diddy was another bridge. When I'm talking about these bridges, these are like toll bridges.
Yeah, but it seems like everybody's a bridge.
Well, no, it's like that's why I call them like icons. Icons like I've talked about before. They're like desktop icons. They're not really the program. They're just the thing that gets solidified in your brain to say, oh, if I want to open this, oh, there's this icon. It's a thing that's to catch your attention, to remember, but it's not the program itself. But they have to be something famous. They have to be something lifted up. They have to be something that's solidified as that's the thing. And these things just become entry gates into the program. They're icons. They're not literally the program itself. It's just a gateway to the program.
Yeah. And it's like all these like big public pedophiles that get taken down. They're always like big in the community, and they're always like donating the stuff, and people always kind of like flock around them. It's like here in my town, one of our former mayors got busted for having a decades-long stash of homemade and internet-acquired
homemade
kitty stuff. Yeah, with like community members and things like that. And he had gotten caught back in the 80s. But because he was like such a big and like kind of important person here in our small town, instead of prosecuting him, they sent him away to be rehabilitated. And he came back from aversion therapy, a changed man, and nothing bad would ever happen again. But that was not true.
Did he get caught again?
Yeah, he got caught again because he took his laptop and printer into the repair store because his printer wasn't working. And when they turned it on, the printer queue fired up and it just started spitting out pictures of him in various acts.
Oh, so the computer people, I wonder how many times they actually have to put up with that. Like they turn on these computers and they see all kinds of things that we never even think about.
Honestly, a lot. That is one of the reasons why I stopped doing like tech support stuff, is because I would help people with their computers and I would find their terrible stashes of stuff that I never ever wanted to know that they were consuming.
Yeah, especially if it's somebody that you know or somebody that you seem as respectable. It definitely turns a different light. But this leads to a different question. What do you think about rehabilitation? You think I just
seems like it works pretty well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's because when you're saying all this about your mayor, what do you think about rehabilitation?
Realistically, it's not real. Like Like especially for like these bigger people where they go to like these cushy like rehab facilities where they don't actually do anything. They just kind of like go through the motions and like, oh, I'm rehabilitated, I'm changed, and they just kind of get like the rubber stamp approval. It's kind of like with like drug addicts and stuff like that. A lot of the times they don't treat the issue or try to figure out why they became like that, and they just kind of like make the symptoms go away long enough for it to kind of be okay.
What do you think the answer would be if traditional rehabilitation is not suitable? Do you think people like that should? You think they should just be locked up forever? You think there should be like severe punishments?
Maybe they should be sent away. Like I know that's one thing that seems to work.
Yeah.
The Catholics will send away their bishops.
There we go.
And those bishops will get sent to a new town, and and then they go do the same thing again, and then they have to get sent away to a new town to mess with the kids in that town, but eventually it'll work, I think.
You
Maybe.
think so?
Maybe. No, I think there does need to be harsher punishments, and I'm like the way that it's going now, it's not really realistic, and there's not enough oversight, and there's too much there's too much hand holding for all these like high profile people like politicians and like policymakers and actors and things like that. So there's all this what do you call not indiscriminate but inadequate enforcement. And so like the higher up people just kind of get like a slap on the wrist and like, oh, don't do that. And then you get like the lower people who get like sent to prison, and they're like the book is thrown at them and everything.
The people eating Camel's chicken noodle soup.
Exactly. So
well, that's the question.
Not for me, because like I don't know if you guys have seen like the Malky Buddha, like the Pedalgate documentaries that he's done, where he goes through like all of the politicians in like the last 20 years that have been convicted of child sex crimes, or that have been charged, I should say. And almost all the charges have been dropped or like dismissed, or nothing happens. They just get to resign and they say that the charges go away. It's like one of those things where they're not willing to actually pull at the string and see who these people are connected to. Because that was one of the things with like the mayor here, is he had a lot of connections to a lot of people. And who he was distributing this material to is a big question that was never answered. Because, you know what I mean? It's just, they're always connected and they operate together. And it's like once you take down one, you start pulling at that string, you find out that he's connected to this other guy, and this guy's connected to these 3 other guys, and those 3 guys are connected to these other 10 guys. And eventually you realize that like the entire system is just run by these psychotic perverts. And then what do you do then? Like the people who make the law are weirdos, but they're supposed to be enforcing the laws against the weirdos. And if you take them all down, then the system crumbles, because then there's nobody to run the system. And so how do you replace them? And it just turns into this big, huge mess of like, do we just blow it all up and start over? But if we start over, how do we make sure that the weirdos don't get back into the new thing?
Well, even people like Chris Hansen, I think it's. I used to love his show, and then all of a sudden he went to jail for tax evasion, quote unquote. And that's what I thought was interesting. It's like I'm shocked that they didn't just give him a laptop and say, "Oh, look, we found his laptop. He himself is doing this stuff." I don't think anybody would have believed it. So maybe that's why they had to get him for tax evasion or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can tell what happened. It's like it's so obvious. He caught the wrong people. Somebody along the line he caught, and they probably said, "You're not going to post any of this stuff." And he said, "I'm going to." And then the stuff he thought he was going to win probably. You can tell he's got that mentality, but you're not going to win against this bigger system, like you said.
But that is the issue, is that that's a legitimate thing. It's just like with anything. You have lobbying and you have corporate interests. And they got all the money in the world. They have all the legal firms in the world. And they pay off the politicians. They have now the politicians indebted to them because they've been taking these earmarks, and there's no option. And you're right. Even if you collapse the system, which that wouldn't be feasible because then it's just straight anarchy. Then the question is then how do you maintain it from happening again?
We don't, because while we're trying to fix them, they're trying to fix us too. Like No Cloud said, they're the ones writing the laws and enforcing the laws. And now what they're trying to do, which we've seen, is they're actually trying to change the laws to where MAPs are now considered normal. Right. But they just have to do it a lot better. They're doing very sloppy work with this. They need to figure out how they're doing it. They can't bash on women and call it women's rights. They can't bash on children and call this protection and stuff. So they're going to have to go a different way about it. But they could do it.
Well, that's why I think, there's this on-rise, and I'm not a proponent of nationalistic proclivities, or the main thing going on right now with the MAGA people is the Christian nationalism construct. Because even if you would take an objective morality, and let's say you make that as a standard for your nation, that doesn't mean that's not going to fix anything still. Because just because everybody, just like now, we all are saying we are against pedophilia. We are against all of this. That doesn't mean your laptop at home isn't full of that stuff. We don't know what you're doing. How many ministers and religious people get caught with all of this stuff? So just because you make a standard and then you say everybody should follow this standard just like we have today, it's literally like we have today, it doesn't stop from the people who are in power still being involved in these organizations.
That's why they're trying to fix it. They're trying to rewrite the laws and make it all about liberty and all that. Like they're saying, look, MAPs are normal people like us. Right. And they're trying to fight for this stuff, putting it in the schools and everything else. And they're trying to normalize the pedophilia and change us. And we're trying to change them, but it's not a fair game because they have all the money and the power. And we don't. We got nothing. We're just the people who have to listen to what the laws are.
First thing I would say as a suggestion, just trying to give out some solution. First thing we need to do is get rid of lobbying as a means. If we go back to individual donations, like if you want to contribute, everybody gets to individually contribute. No more super PACs, all of that. If we can just at least eliminate some of the lobbying overreach, we can start somewhere. Like that's something. Because off top, if all these politicians have incentives of getting hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, you're just never going to fix this no matter what you do. You have to get rid of the incentives of course, we'll take all this cash and throw in a couple earmarks here in this legislation bill or, like that last bill. When they passed to reopen the government, they snuck in that hemp bill. And they used that so they could get rid of the hemp industry. And Rand Paul was telling people, it's like, hey, man, we're talking very minimal amount of THC in this that people were using to make like beers and whatever. Like we're talking 4%. And they're like, you guys want to get this to zero. This is going to abrogate the whole entire industry. And what was motivating them? Like, you guys are just trying to reopen the government, but you need to sneak in this bill in here. If you want to talk about this legislation, that's fine. So talk about the hemp legislation on its own. But you didn't. You wanted to use this crevice point where everybody's stuck in this limbo land. We need to open the government. We ain't got no option. So let's just go ahead and sneak this bill in here because we know you're going to pass it because you're not going to reject it and not open the government. And so this lobbying comes back in, and this is how you manipulate, again, legislation. And the first thing we need to do is get rid of super PACs and all this massive lobbying. But then again, who's going to enforce this? It's the same thing. If I'm being paid by these people, why am I going to pass laws that take this money out of my pocket?
Exactly. I think it was Coca-Cola, the one that pushed for that hemp bill to go through because, of all the different drinks that were going out and stuff like that. And so there was like a sub-market that Coca-Cola was not allowed to exploit because of their federal distribution. They can't do like little localized distribution where it's legal. And so all these smaller drink companies were able to put like CBD and stuff like that into their drinks, and they're capturing all that big market share, and Coca-Cola was losing out on it. And so they were upset about that. And so since they couldn't play, nobody can play. Yeah,
but how do we fix that without abrogating lobbying like that on that level? because that's probably the most recent and most obvious thing. We just needed to pass a bill to reopen the government. Fine, whatever. Even though the whole thing was a collusion, fine.
Yeah.
Why did you need to throw in this stupid bill in there? It's like if you want to restrict hemp, fine. We're not even talking about cannabis. We're just talking about hemp.
Yeah.
Which has uses in textiles and all kinds of stuff. But if you want to restrict that, that's fine. That needs to be taken up on its own legislation. But because you snuck it in here in this very mandatory bill, this is obvious to everyone that this is a lobbying emphasis. Yeah. And yet, very minimal people even talk about this. And they're like, this is the most obvious form of manipulation. And if you can't stop that, then you're not stopping nothing. And so you want to talk about pedophilia, you want to talk about all these rings, you want to talk about all this stuff. You can't even stop at something as silly as that.
Yes, exactly.
You're not stopping pedophilia.
No, and that's what I think is going on with like the whole Epstein thing, is that they're dragging it out to keep people in an uproar and fighting about that while they do all their other little weird things, like this hemp bill and like the whole government shutdown thing. People are so upset and want the government open no matter what. They're just saying sign whatever bill, it doesn't matter. It's like these omnibus bills that they put out. You can't physically read one in time to understand it in time for it to go to a vote. There's so much going on in it that there's all these little riders and other kind of weird things, and they hopscotch things around, and like this bill means this, and this bill works in tandem with this, and if these two bills are working together, then this happens, and then if this other bill is working at the same time, then it negates this other bill that also is going on. It's all this like arcane legalese that doesn't really, it makes sense to the people who made it and what their end result is, but they're just convoluting the path so that way you can't really see where it's coming from and where it's going.
So what do you think? You think we need a smaller government?
Not so much a smaller government, but the government needs to be streamlined. And so it needs to be expanded like on the local level, but like the bureaucracy needs to be figured out and kind of streamlined in that sense, because
how do you do like that at the same time preventing lobbying?
See, lobbying is tough because it's like lobbying is both good and bad. Like you shouldn't have like corporate lobbying. Like communities, like my town here, we have 2 or 3 lobbyists that go to Washington, D.C. to lobby on behalf of like grants and like services for the community and things like that. But like a problem with that is that the corporations here in town use those lobbyists to push for like Walmart or like an expanded like cruise ship dock and things like that. And so it's not really things that actually benefit the community. It's like at the end of the day, like the lobbying doesn't necessarily need to go, but like the money in lobbying needs to go. Because like the communities need to be able to advocate for themselves in the government. And they've
what would be a method to fix it? Because you're right. Like individual people in the community, they want to vote for a representative that goes towards their rights. But at the same time, corporations needs incentives so that they can generate an income. So there's both battlefields going on here. But because there's such a wealth gap between the two, and then you have things like super PACs where they can take all this money, funnel it into this one organization, and that organization can funnel all that contribution to a certain politician. These politicians are going to say, well, how much have we got from individual contributions? Maybe 100,000. But we got Coca-Cola over here willing to give us, $10 million. Well, I'm going to go with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But let's say we take it down to the dollar level. If an entity is only worth $1, so maybe you can say every individual at the company can collaborate. But see, even at that, then you're still going back to, I just say the best way to fix this is every individual citizen has an amount that they can donate. And yeah, of course, you have billionaires and all of that, but then you cap it. Let's say you can't give more than $100,000 per person.
Mhm.
And this would force politicians to have to fight for more of a universal construct of their constituents because they know they're not going to be able to get this large sum. And if you don't do what your constituents want, you're just not going to have enough money.
Yeah. Well, and verifying like those donations is tough too. Like I don't like
Put it
this
on the
Project
blockchain.
Verify, I was putting it out maybe 2 years ago, where they were going around to where they had the Act Blue donor list, and they were going door to door to people and asking them, "Did you donate $100,000 like 3 times?" And they're like, "No, I didn't. I haven't made any of these donations. I don't donate through Act Blue."
But put
And
it
so
on the
they're just,
blockchain, and the blockchain can verify it and make it and you have a decentralized blockchain.
yeah. So the blockchain's a good idea, but once we get into like the quantum computing can hack the blockchain.
Well,
And
that's
so then
true, but at least you could do something now, and we can focus on encryption later because whatever we got now is broken.
oh yeah, no, the government infrastructure is like 10 to 15 years behind what we're actually using. Like they don't upgrade servers, they don't upgrade like work equipment and stuff like that. Like there's government servers that are still running on like Windows 98 and like Windows 95
Hmm.
because they never invested the time to actually upgrade those systems. And it's like a lot of the work programs that they actually use within the government are they're just like vibe coded by like whoever's cousin that works in the government who did it for some huge contract. So they're like broken. It's all broken software. It's all broken encryption already. Like it all needs to be upgraded in a unified way, but they're never going to take the time to do that because to do that you have to shut it all down. And there's
This
stuff
is my
that's like
thought about why they make old people the majority of the legislative power. See, if there was a
yeah.
bunch of young people in there, all of this would have been fixed a long time ago because we understand
Mhm.
that this is a broken system with old technology. But the older people, they could care less because with this old technology, there's still a lot of loopholes for them not to get caught. So,
Exactly.
and so they want to keep old people in there because these old people aren't going to emphasize on enhancing the upgrades. So I believe it's on purpose that majority of the legislators and the people that are politicians are older people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that like what you guys were talking about earlier with like living to be like 150 and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Realistically, all that does is going to push back the age of retirement to like 130. So now you're going to have people working until they're like 130, and you don't have to worry about like worker turnover. You can just keep those menial workers working in that same position for longer.
Well, if we could live for 150, then that gives us 20 years of retirement.
Yeah, they're being real generous with us.
Yeah, so if they expand our life, then they can get more work out of us to 130.
Exactly. So they get more work out of us. They don't have to train new people. They don't have to worry about like putting resources in the schools and stuff like that because we've got these long-lived workers who can just keep plugging away at us.
Yeah, imagine a company, they're talking about their employees like, oh, yeah, John over there, he's been with us for 130 years. It's like, wow. It's like that, those shirts or some of those logos that says since 1904 type thing, But I was going to ask you guys, let's say we found a solution to the pollution.
Talking about this thing we've been talking about?
Yeah, and we got the government to agree to everything you guys are saying and get on the blockchain or whatever. Well, let's say we found this solution. We didn't get them to agree on anything. We found us a working solution.
We have a proposal.
Yeah. How are you going to get them to take that step? What would be the incentive for them to lose a bunch of cash and to just do the right thing?
That's actually what I asked earlier to Noah Cloud. The problem is the same thing, is if legislators are being paid by lobbyists, why would they pass laws that actually take the money out of their pocket?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think they're old people there. Younger people have future incentives. They're frustrated too. If you get enough of them to do that, there'd be enough conflict, I think, for young people. I
don't think young people are immune, though, when they see the dollar signs and the commas in their bank account. They're not gonna want to lose that.
Well, it just depends on how much they believe about their own future, and
what more can they? How do?
I'll give you two solutions, right? Let's do term limits. Let's say you can only be a representative 2 terms, and that's it. If that's the case, it doesn't matter. You only have now 8 years. After that, you cannot be a part of the legislative branch ever again. If you cap term limits, you lose the incentive for long-term.
Right, and why would anybody agree to that rule when there's money on the line?
Well,
why would anybody agree to that?
I would say younger people may, because they're not a part of the legislative branch yet.
Young or old, why would anybody agree to that when there's money on the line?
Well, because at some point people are going to not get voted or voted in. Like, some people are going to speak on it, right? They're going to say, this is the agenda. We're going to fight for legislative reform. And then, of course, people are going to expect that to happen. Of course, it's probably not going to happen, so then they won't be re-voted back in.
But the people being voted in, we're going to see mysteriously people being voted in by the lobbyists.
Well, if we take that construct to its logical end, then it's like, well, there's no hope except a revolution.
Well, unless we can find a way to incentivize people that's a greater incentive than money. I don't have an answer, but I'm saying that one day, young people follow their hearts.
That's what
while
you do.
Old people are following money or something.
You have to. At some point, the government as a whole, people have to believe that the government as a whole is going to want some kind of reform for the people. And
do you believe that the government is going to change?
No, I think it's leading to technocracy. So I don't think that. But
you think there's even a possibility that the government could, maybe their heart will grow 3 times like the Grinch, and they're just going to start caring
the only
about
thing
people.
that can motivate them is our dollars.
Actually, no, because if their heart grows 3 times, it's going to be for money. It's not going to be for people, and I get it. It would happen to anybody. The young people are looking out for their future too. So I would do the same thing. If you put $8 billion on the table and say, yeah, make this choice for $8 billion, or make this choice and lose your position and possibly go to jail with a bunch of child porn on your laptop. Of course, I'm going to go with $8 billion. Sure. I'm not going to want this laptop to be found that I don't even know about, but all of a sudden now that's who I am. And there's, AI sorted me into these videos.
Well, the most powerful thing we have as a people, more than our vote, is our dollars. If you really want to change something, don't spend the money.
That's what they've been telling us. The rich people have been telling us to stop spending our money.
No, I'm talking about literally. Like, if you literally stop spending on this company and this company on a large scale, and this is why they say boycotts, but I don't think boycotts in the motivation for like moral compasses is an objective.
Yeah, and that all these different options and choices of companies, it's all just an illusion. They're all owned by 1 or 2 companies.
Well, what you
do is I'm switching from Nesquik to Great Value.
No,
it's the same thing.
Now, how you fix that is you buy local. When you buy local and mom and pop stuff,
the local farms that Bill Gates owns,
they will grow more. Like, if you started buying more mom and pop foods, the more mom and pop foods will pop up, because now they see incentives that I'm willing to open up because more people are buying mom and pops. If you buy locally, this will actually force corporations to be competitive.
There's not enough mom and pop shops.
I know, but that's only because there's not enough incentive. If everybody started buying locally, then this would incentivize more local shops.
And they don't, because the money wouldn't have it that way.
That's why I started in the beginning, because everybody wants convenience. Everybody wants to keep eating their fake steak.
Yeah, taste is king.
But if you did buy locally, you could fix that problem.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, your local infrastructure is like dependent on everything outside of it. Have you ever seen that video of the guy explaining how no one single human being can make a pencil? Yeah. Distribution and resources is a problem, but outside of local contribution, if you want a starting spot, you have to get a means to force large corporations to think more about local communities. And the only way you can force a big company to do that is by seeing that most of their loss of profit is going to local communities. It's the only thing that moves a corporation is they have to see losses.
because then their stocks will go down. Everything will start going down. And the stock shareholders are going to say, what's the problem? And they're going to have to say, well, a lot of our profits are going to local communities.
And
well,
what would happen is all that money going to the local mom and pop shops, they would grow, and then they would become lobbyists or get lobbied themselves, or they would get bought out once their business grows bigger. So you just fed into the bigger machine.
That's actually what does happen. That's the problem. It depends on how much people care. If people cared, they wouldn't sell out. But yeah, that's what happens. Big corporations buy out the bigger mom and pops.
Yeah, so it's inevitable. You're over here helping the mom and pops, but you're actually digging their grave for them, really.
Right. This is the problem where we're at now. There's too much wealth in the top 1% that they can literally control everything by buying everybody out. And the only way to stop it is say, I'm not buyable. You can't give me X amount of money. I care more about my community. But how many people are willing to sacrifice that?
Yeah, it seems like capitalism works for a time. It's probably maybe the best working system, but yeah, there's a time limit on it. That's the payoff. There's a time limit.
Well, like I said before, free markets in totality would work if you'd let things collapse. It's because government subsidizes failing companies that they can never fail. Like during the bailout of 2008, if they didn't bail out Chrysler and these banks and everything, just let the thing collapse. Then you would see larger spreads of markets because literally huge companies would no longer exist whatsoever. And then competition can start spreading out more. But because every time a huge corporation is about to collapse, the government comes in and is like, they're too big to fail. We have to save them. And because the government keeps doing that, the capitalism will fail because you don't allow it to work. You got to let failing companies die.
Well,
yeah. Well, it's like these corporations, part of the problem where they say like they're too big to fail is because they get dependent on them.
Right,
and
the government
like when
does.
Walmart
Right.
comes in and they set up, and then all the like mom and pop shops close down, and all the town's grocery stores and everything like that closed down, and then they're dependent on Walmart because they can't go get their groceries anywhere else. But then Walmart isn't making profits off this small town. They're putting more money into the labor to keep the store open, and so then they shut down Walmart, and then now this place has nothing.
Yeah, and then that's when the government would come and save Walmart, at least in that local area, probably. And that's
Exactly.
how. But like, imagine if the government didn't save iPhone, if Apple shut down, what are all these iPhone users going to do? Literally, the economy would stop. Probably 50% of Americans use iPhone and MacBooks and all this stuff. So they would all of that would just stop working. So yeah, we would actually there'd be a lot of the end of the world would have, at least the end of America, possibly anybody in China using iPhone too.
But it's a macro system issue because if you go to the socialistic construct, or at least a hybrid of it like China, what happens is that these companies are just subsidies. They're not really owned by themselves, even though there is a quasi-ownership because there are billionaires. But the government maintains all that infrastructure. But that also forces a weird thing, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but it forces a weird thing with their currency. And it's the same thing because all of this is built on debt. Everything is built on the idea of debt. And debt is where you can get all this free money. And this is why the system continues on. If you paid off the debt, that literally means you don't have any money. The debt is what causes more money. And if you don't allow big corporations to fail, why are they failing? Because that means nobody wants your stuff. That's the only reason why big corporations fail, because nobody wants your junk. The reason why Apple is worth so much is because people want your stuff.
But they know that we need it. Because if the government knows, and Apple knows, if we shut down, the government will come and buy us out anyway. So they just play the system. They know our stuff will continue going.
Right now. But if, like, let's say 5 years from now, Apple starts really declining and they don't have any more money, what's naturally going to happen is they're going to go in bankruptcy and another big company is going to buy it out.
That's what the government could do possibly, is let Apple slowly die out.
Well, that's how
if they just abruptly stop, because then it would give all their users time to go buy different phones.
Right, that's actually what would happen. That's how most big corporations, it's a slow fade and then they file bankruptcy.
But I mean, the government could buy it out and make sure it goes slowly. That way it can't just abruptly stop.
But they just won't allow it. At some reason, they're like, you're too big to fail, and we're just going to come in and save the day. And it's like nobody wants your junk. That's why you're failing. You don't produce good products. If you did, people would buy it and you wouldn't have this problem to begin with. See, you actually nullify competition by bailing out. Who's going to be incentivized to make good products if they know the government's just going to save the day? The only reason why you would make better products is because you know the government will not save the day, which then means I better build something really good so I don't collapse.
I guess the difference would be you get money versus the government gets money. Because if the government buys out Apple, Apple's not making money anymore.
No, but I want better products. That's why I'm willing to pay for it. And the only way I can get better products is if competition is real. And the only way competition remains real is if there's a fear of collapse. If you know that there's no way I will ever collapse, you don't have an incentive to make good products. Yes. You have to give the fear to big corporations. You will collapse.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have that mentality. Failure is not an option for them. Like even when it comes to bankruptcy, it's not even like the end of the world for them. Because like most of corporate America operates on debt. Like these big companies, once you get to a certain level, they're not actually paying each other. They're just saying, you owe me this much money, I owe you this much money, you can make some payments here and there. But they don't want like full upfront payments. Because once you provide a full upfront payment for something, then they owe you. But if they provide you with like a service or a product or like some manufacturing, and they say, we're going to put this on an invoice, now you owe them. And so they can use that against you. They can sell that debt, and they can add interest onto it. They don't want that lump sum up front. It's like a lot of the times when you get to like these higher things, like in the hundreds of thousands and things like that, they won't take $100,000 payment. They'll give you $100,000 invoice for you to figure out payments on.
Well, what they do is that's why I honestly believe, and again, as it gets complicated, is the bond market. The bond market itself is actually the whole reason we are all stuck in this problem, because you can create it's called it's a derivative. It's a financial product. Like what happened, they created credit default swaps in 2006 and 2008, creating these trash mortgage securities, put them all inside like a bunch of eclectic different mortgages. And they were all subprime loans, like trash loans that they know people were going to default on. And they sold these packages, and then eventually people would buy them, like huge banks and stuff would buy them. And then when everybody defaulted, they're like, these things are worth nothing. And that's why the banks were collapsing. They're like, well, we just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on these financial products, and they're worth nothing. So the banks were literally in debt to hundreds of millions of dollars because they're holding literal bags. And now the United States government says, well, instead of letting you fail, let's just bail you out, because you're too big to fail. And I would say that's an irresponsible company taking high-risk loans thinking that you would never fail. And now you're going to bail them out? What do you think they're going to do right now? What do you think they're going to do in the next 5 years? They're going to just do it again, because they're going to say, well, they bailed us out before. Guess what they're going to do? Mm-hmm. They're going to bail us out again. Yeah. And unless these companies feel like I can't take that kind of stupid investment because the government is not bailing me out, nothing incentivizes them from not doing that, which means ultimately why it matters to us, no competition. That no competition means worse services, worse products. Mm-hmm. And now we're just paying for worse things, and they're even more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the way that it all operates with like the debt and the bankruptcies and everything is just kind of like insane, the way that it's able to be legal. Because like if the average person were to accrue that much debt and then try to just bankruptcy, they would like go to jail. They would never be able to not pay that off.
And then they have junk bonds where big companies actually have debt. And what's so stupid is it's like, it'd be cool, right? Let's say I go get a $1 million loan, and then and that's a debt. But then I can take that loan and then I can put that into a financial product and sell that debt as a bond. Yeah. And then I could tell, hey, colleague, would you like to buy this bond of $1 million debt? And I'll give you like 4% interest on it. And so now I have double debt. I have the $1 million cash that I got from the loan. And then I'm selling that debt as a bond, as a financial product to colleague, and he's now given me, let's say I only want half of that, $500,000. I just got $1.5 million off of $1 million loan, and it's only costing me 2 sets of interest. But if I ever default, I'm out now $2 million. And this is how they're selling junk bonds all the time, too. So you have double down debts on companies. And this is all fake money. And then so when things collapse, instead of forcing all of this to fail and trash out, you're just creating more and more and more debt. And ultimately, the taxpayers have to pay it, which causes our national debt to increase.
Yeah. And it's like most of the debt that they put out there is all just hyperinflated anyway, because they know that enough people will pay it to make it worth it for the ones that don't pay it. It's like, have you ever had a bill go to collections and you get a call from the debt collector and they're like, if you pay us 25% of your total debt, we'll make it go away?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why would I have paid the original bill if I can just wait for it to go to collections and then pay 25%? You know, because they already sold the debt and they got a little bit of money back, and so that's all the money that they needed to cover the expenses of it. They don't care about the rest.
Right. And not only that, they do a write-off, and now it becomes a tax itemization.
Yeah, and so it's sort of like if everybody were to just go and run up their credit cards to max limit, keep opening new credit cards, run them up to max limit, and if everybody did this and just refused to pay them, it would all come crashing down, because how are they going to like come and collect that money?
Right.
You know,
that'd
like,
be another idea if everybody collectively would say, all right, today, here's what we're all going to do as a collective United States. We're going to max out everything we can possibly max out. And then we're just not going to pay anything. And let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's like the debit card is probably one of the worst things they did to people, because that's tied directly to your money. Like if that gets stolen, that's tied to your money. But like the credit card, that's tied to somebody else's money. So if somebody steals your credit card number and goes wild with it, well, shit, that's not my money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like what all the rich and the wealthy people do, is they use other people's money, and then maybe I'll pay you back, but hey, you're stupid for letting me use your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was their idea. And it's not like one of those things where you rally up everybody and try to get everybody to stop paying taxes, because that's actually illegal. But there's nothing illegal about it.
No, there is.
I mean, so you could actually get people to do that quicker than you could to get everybody to stop paying taxes.
Because the only thing people can do is file suit, but you can't sue the entire United States.
You know, I think I could stand behind that.
Right.
Like, you know, we can max out our credit card on chicken noodle soup, you know.
I mean, you can literally do whatever you want. But, yeah, if everybody did that, it would collapse the system. Because you're literally every dollar of debt has to get created from something. And if there's no means to have that paid back, that would be a credit run at that point.
It's time.
Yeah. But anyways, that's about all the time we have for today. Appreciate you tuning in, Mr. Noah Cloud. Maybe you can come back next week. I know D Powers was supposed to come on this week, but maybe everybody forgot it was Thanksgiving, and, it's typical, we do this every week, so. But maybe next week we'll have everybody. We got 4 spots. We got one for Mr. Cloud, Mr. D Powers, Mr. Ted B, and Mr. Tom McLaughlin. He said he'll be on next week as well. So
yeah, my dad's really forgetful too. He sends letters and stuff in the mail saying, "Oh, I forgot it was your birthday again, son," and he just forgets. He's very busy. Yeah,
we have to cut it a little bit short because we have an engagement ourselves, a transhuman turkey to go eat. But hopefully you have a great Thanksgiving, Mr. Noah Cloud.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a good dinner and all that good stuff. And thank you, chat, for those who stuck around. I'm sorry, Bill, about the Ravens. I
think I fixed it. I think what it was,
next time.
I had a noise gate filter. And
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and once I clicked it, that's why it all went away. So
I thought it was on Mr. Cloud's.
Well,
I guess it wasn't.
What was happening is that his volume levels were getting too high, and it was constantly making this weird glitch sound. But I fixed it. But it's fine.
Yeah, if you're curious of what we were hearing, you could go listen to it, because I don't think those were birds.
Yeah,
we can't hear any birds in the background. Well, I can't anyway. All we heard was this weird, like, croaking noise. But anyway, it's neither here nor
there.
there.
The Ravens. They
They don't sound natural.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I appreciate that, and you should,
AirPods.
Mr. Noah Cloud. You should tune in next week. Chime back in. We enjoy you coming on here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Hopefully, I'll make enough time for it.
Yeah, well, if you can, we'd definitely like to see you again. But anyways, everybody else in the chat and everybody on Rumble, on Twitch, on YouTube, and I'm trying to get it on Facebook as well, but that's having a little bit of a stream key issues and stuff like that. But hopefully I get that fixed out. But appreciate everybody tuning in, and have a great Thanksgiving until next week. Oh, yeah, and tune in this Saturday's episode, 142, A Transhuman Thanksgiving. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. But until next time, this is the Matrix Network.